7, no homers, 7 runs batted in as the leadoff man. And taking strike one. Eckstein has a .333 on base average, and he has scored 10 runs. Eckstein from the University of Florida, a walk-on there. Takes ball one, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike for Wandy Rodriguez. David now 34 years old. Last year he played for Toronto and Arizona. Out toward right center field and shallow. Michael Bourne cannot get close enough to make a diving try, and it's a leadoff single for Eckstein.
That's Eckstein's game. He's not going to hit for power, but he's a good contact guy. They were shortened up for him, but just not short enough in that instance.
Now Brian Giles comes up with a slow start, 164, 1 homer. He's driven in 14 though. And double play depth for Tejada and Matsui on the Astros infield. Giles takes it, and it's ball 1 for Wandy Rodriguez. Giles, a longtime opponent of the Astros, 4 for 9 in his career against Wandy. There's a look as Eckstein is held on by Darren Erstad, the first baseman. And Brian swings and foul tips it for a 1-1 count. Brian now 38 years old. He hit .306 last year for the Padres with 12 homers, 63 runs batted in. He is a .315 career hitter against Houston with 20 bombs and 74 runs batted in. Strike for Wandy, and that evens the count. That makes the count 1-2 rather. Scott Hairston on deck.
Giles, a very patient hitter, usually draws a bunch of walks. On base percentage last year around .400. That's nothing new. That's the norm.
Fly ball center field. Michael Bourne waiting. And there's 1 out. In Wandy's career, he's 1-2 against the Padres. His ERA against them is 8.10. Now it'll be Hairston coming up. Hairston platooning in center field with Jody Garrett. Gets the call against lefties. Scott will turn 29 later this month. Last year he had 326 at bats with the Padres, hitting .248 with 17 homers. As he comes up tonight, his batting average is way up in the clouds at .348. There's ball 1 to him. Hairston, in addition to those great numbers, much better than he enjoyed a year ago at this time. Has had very good success against Rodriguez, 3 for 6 with 2 homers against Wandy. And it's high for ball 2. Padres are 13-16. They are 8 games behind the streaking Dodgers in the NL West. And they are 2-5 in the month of May. The Astros begin the night 7.5 back of St. Louis. Bud Black's club with a low payroll, trying to win some low-scoring games. That's hit foul. 2 balls and a strike. And if they can stay close, they have a good chance because their closer, Heath Bell, is one of the best in the early going with 8 saves. And they're a pesky team.
Yeah, they've got some issues getting to Heath Bell, but he's been nails taking over as the closer with Trevor Hoffman moving along.
Throw goes to first base.
And Padres, you know, with Brian Giles struggling, the lineup was a little short to begin with, and over the last 17 games, 4-13, averaging just a little over 3 runs per game. I'm sure part of that is Petco Park. But, you know, they lean heavily on their pitching, and the pitching hasn't been that good this year either. Astros catch a break, though. They don't see their top guys, and Jake Peavy, Chris Young, neither one of those guys working in this series.
So they're facing 3 winless pitchers from the Padres as far as the starting pitchers are concerned. Scott Hairston starting for the 16th time this year. 12 of those have been starts in center field. He's also played left field some. Played for Team Mexico in the World Baseball Classic. Eckstein the runner at first with a 2-2 count. Fouled away. Astros hitting coach Sean Berry underwent successful surgery this morning at the Methodist Hospital for the removal of a cancerous right kidney. Very good news. Kidney was removed via laparoscope, and Sean will be hospitalized for 3 to 4 days and could return to his full coaching duties in approximately 2 weeks.
Yeah, boy, good news on many levels. The fact that they were able to do it laparoscopically.
This one gets by Blum. He got his glove on it. It trickles up the left field line, and Eckstein has a chance to go to third while Hairston moves into second base. And 2 men on now in scoring position for Adrian Gonzalez.
Cubs got the jump last night with 1 in the first. The night before that, they put a 4 spot up there in the first. And now the Padres looking to get out to an early lead here.
That's a double. Blum leaving his feet, got a glove on it. That slowed it down. Hairston getting his 7th double. Now first base open here as Gonzalez comes up. This is his 27th birthday. He's a .308 hitter with 9 homers, 20 runs batted in, and a .408 on base average. Check swing roller. Runner holding at third. Blum will make the play at first, and that is a huge out, number 2.
Yeah, one of the best sluggers in the league. You get a little excuse me half swing. And a slow roller, a tough read for Eckstein down there at third base. You know, in hindsight, if he breaks right there, he scores more than likely.
Wanda gets Gonzalez on 1 pitch and now focuses on Chase Headley, a switch hitter. .253, 2 homers, 11 runs batted in for Headley, the left fielder. Here's ball 1.
Not Heady. Headley. That's Headley.
Was it Headley Lamar?
Headley Lamar.
Yeah. That was a great character.
Harvey Korman.
Harvey Korman was so good with that one. Strike, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Chase Headley's had some problems swinging from the left side due to a shoulder he injured Sunday. He slammed into the wall at Dodger Stadium, but now he gets a chance to bat right with a 1-1 count here. Ted Simmons is the bench coach. On the right, as you look at Bud Black. Pitching coach of the Padres is Darren Balsley. Fly ball center field. Michael Bourne heads back on the run and a long way back into center. Turning, and Michael Bourne got it! Ouch. He is hurt. He might have jammed that left elbow into his rib cage as he fell on Towles Hill. Tremendous play by Michael Bourne. And that one allows the Astros to put up a 0 in the first inning. Sparkling effort by the speedy center fielder.
Wandy ought to go out and carry him in.
Standing ovation for Michael Bourne. And for the Padres, no runs, 2 hits, a frustrating first, and a ball crushed by Headley. Top of the first, thanks to the Bourne sparkling play, and Houston coming up now. The Astros starting lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Kazuo Matsui at second. Michael Bourne center field. Hunter Pence right field batting third for the first time this year. Carlos Lee left field. Miguel Tejada shortstop. Jeff Blum third base. Darren Erstad first base. Ivan Rodriguez catcher. Juan Rodriguez pitcher. And now it's Kazuo Matsui against Chad Gaudin of New Orleans, Louisiana, 26 years old. Scheming in strike one. Matsui 264, one homer, 12 runs batted in. Gaudin uses the breaking ball, and it's 1-1 as we take a look at it.
Chad Gaudin throws a lot of sliders this year. 2 starts, 0-1, 5.06 ERA, just 10 2/3 innings pitched. He was released by the Cubs right at the end of spring training. The Padres picked him up. He's been a Devil Ray, a Blue Jay, an Athletic, Cub, and now a Padre. Started the year with their AAA club in Portland.
Bounce to second base. Eckstein makes the quick flip. 1 out for Chad Gaudin. In his career, no decisions for Chad against the Astros, an ERA of 5.63. Michael Bourne pulled it off again in deep center field.
Ball twisting away from him, and at the end he has the ability to turn his body around, and the concentration here just incredible as he's losing his balance. Tremendous. It's 2 runs in and a man standing on third base.
Yes, it
is. He doesn't make that catch.
Now he looks at strike one.
And a woe is me, here we go again attitude in the dugout probably.
Got that right. Rolled out to second. Eckstein. 2 outs now for Gaudin. Chad has a good thing going, keeping the ball on the infield as he looks for win number 1 as a Padre. He has 28 major league wins, 26 losses. Hunter Pence is batting third for the first time this year. Lance Berkman had been moved to 5th in the original lineup. Then he was scratched with a sore left wrist. So Pence on a 3-game hitting streak at 308 with 4 homers, 11 runs batted in. Sports a 373 on base percentage.
Notice Hunter had his helmet off as he walked up to the plate.
I didn't notice that.
Sporting that new mohawk.
Yeah, he came up with that today. Sort of rallied the spirits of the Astros. And Jeff Blum got into it with that mohawk look as they comb the hair in the middle of their head up higher. And he calls it Rally Hawks. And he says part of it is just I feel good doing it. Kind of picks me up. 2 balls, no strikes. There's the look from Blummer.
Well, Jeff's not afraid. I'm not afraid to experiment with that quaff. Matter of fact, that's pretty tame compared to some of the stuff we've seen Jeff feature.
Yeah, we've seen a variety of looks from him.
When we first got him.
Yeah.
First go around with the Astros.
Yeah. Well, you got to have hair to do it, and he certainly has the hair.
You got to have hair.
That disqualifies a lot of folks. 2-1 pitch. Misses ball 3.
Company included.
Yeah. 3-1.
Yeah, what I wouldn't do to have somebody rag on me about my hair.
Oh, it never happens. Well, Hunter Pence said part of this Rally Hawk look is a show of support for the Rockets, who are playing later on tonight. Swing and a miss at some good high cheese. Goes up on the board at 90, but kind of surprising it wasn't a higher speed pitch than that.
Like it had a little late life.
It did. Carlos Lee on deck. Hunter dribbles one and is picked up and thrown away by the pitcher Gaudin, and Hunter Pence heads for second base. He'll make it there without a play from Brian Giles. Miscommunication. Hundley went out. Gaudin picked it up. It's ruled a hit and an error on the pitcher.
Yeah, the speed creates the error. Gaudin, realizing he had no time, hurried to throw. And a play that Hunter probably would have beat anyway, so he gets a base hit on it and then gets second base on the error. He gets a lot of infield hits. And Gaudin stumbled a little bit too as he tried to set his feet to make that throw.
Sure did. Maybe the proximity of Hundley caused his footing to be a little bit off there on that throw. And then he launched it over the head of Gonzalez. So a hit takes his hitting streak to 4 games and an error. Brings up Carlos Lee, 7-game hitting streak for El Caballo. 295, 5 homers. He's driven in 20. Strike one for Godin. Carlos is a .311 career hitter against the Padres. There's the lead of Hunter Pence at second base. And that one looks like ball one. 1 ball and 1 strike to Carlos Lee. 4 for 15 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Padres were 63 and 99 last year. They finished 21 games out in the basement in the NL West. They were 3-3 against the Astros. Inside, and it's 2-1. There's the catcher, Nick Hundley.
Godin works under the ball a little bit. His arm angle is a little bit low, kind of a low 3/4 slinger. So his slider has good east-west action, but it doesn't really get on top of it and get good downward tilt on it.
Grounded to third. Kuzminov stumbling and throwing to finish the inning with no runs, 1 hit, 1 error, 1 left. No score after 1.
Carlos Lee and the Astros take on the San Diego Padres tomorrow at 6:05. Tomorrow is also the Astros' 2nd annual Bayou Bash here at Minute Maid Park. Join us before the game at Larry's Big Bamboo for live music, crawfish, and food and drink specials. Plus, the first 10,000 fans will receive a Carlos Lee El Caballo bobblehead courtesy of Bank of America. Get your tickets today at Astros.com, guys.
Thanks, Patty. That's what you'll get. And a ball game. Kevin Kuzminov grounds 1 to third, foul. No balls, 2 strikes. As JD mentioned, his nickname is the Crussian Russian. He's not really Russian born, but Macedonian, but it's a nice nickname for this 27-year-old third baseman.
Crussian Macedonian doesn't really roll off your tongue.
239 for Crussian, 1 homer and 8 runs batted in. Hit 23 homers last year and he drove in 84. Wandy's fastball misses for a 1-2 count. Kuzminov has walked only 5 times. Walked just 23 times last year in 624 at bats. He's up there swinging. And to right center field, Michael Bourne calling. 1 out. And Michael Bourne fits into one of the best strategies for Astros pitchers this year. Let them hit the ball in the air near the center fielder.
Yeah, use your strengths, and when you got a center fielder that can fly like that, and that's the big part of the ball yard, you can get away with some mistakes. And if they hit it out in that direction.
Nick Hundley, the catcher, comes up. Hundley first pitch hitting, fouls it away for strike one. He begins the night at 254 with 1 homer and 8 runs batted in for Hundley. He was 2 for 4 in the Arizona series. Fist bump from the little guy. Only 25 years old. He fouls the curveball for an 0-2 count. He's from Corvallis, Oregon. Went to the University of Arizona. His father played football at Western Oregon and is the SMU assistant head coach now. Nick, a second-round pick in 05 of the Padres. Wandy bounces the curve, and it's 1-2. Really nice start for Wandy Rodriguez. His ERA 5th best in the National League, 2.19. That crowd might not be into ERAs, though. They're just having a good time hanging out on a Friday night.
Good night to come to the ballpark, socialize a little bit, see some fireworks.
Foul ball.
Hopefully see the home team win. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Root for the home team. If they don't win, well, we'll enjoy the fireworks.
One of those enjoyable nights to settle in as the Astros meet the Padres, and watch Wandy Rodriguez, who is one of only 4 starters in the majors not to allow a homer this season.
Jinx.
That is for sure. Should have waited till about the 8th inning on that one. 1-2. He's gone 71 1/3 innings since he gave up his last home run. And that's 13 starts ago. August 10th of 08 at Cincinnati. Holbert Cabrera, the last player to hit a home run off Wandy Rodriguez. Foul back. The current streak for Wandy's the longest by an Astros pitcher since Juan Augusto. And he had a 91 2/3 inning homerless streak from July 4th of 89 through July 2nd of 90.
Yeah, well, he threw all those spitballs down around the ankles. He's going to hit that out of the ballpark.
Tap a shortstop. Tejada comes in. Barehanding will not make the play. Slowly hit ball by Hundley, and he reaches with 1 out in the 2nd inning. It's ruled a single.
And anytime you try to barehand a ball like that and you don't come up with it, they're going to rule a base hit. I'm not sure he had to barehand it. It's just a judgment call for an infielder as he comes in. If he gets it cleanly, he gets his man easily, and I think if he gloves it, he probably gets it. Hundley doesn't look like the swiftest of runners.
No, he doesn't. But he's on with a single, hit number 3 for the Pods. Luis Rodriguez, switch hitting shortstop, 231, 1 homer, 7 runs batted in. Looks at ball 1. Rodriguez has scored 10 runs. He's got a really good on base average, 384. He's walked 18 times compared to 8 strikeouts. Rodriguez looks at it. It's 2-0, and this is one of the changes from last year for the Padres. In that deal they made with the St. Louis Cardinals, Khalil Green, their fine shortstop, is now a Redbird. Meanwhile, Rodriguez came from the Twins as a free agent, and the Padres got him off waivers. He whacks a line drive left field. Carlos Lee over to get in front of it, and here's Hundley going to third base. The throw not in time, and into second base now goes Rodriguez. Once again, the Padres have runners at second and third and 1 out, as they did in the 1st inning.
Now Wandy able to wiggle out of it in the 1st. See how he fares here in the 2nd. He's in pretty good shape in that the opposing pitcher is now in the batter's box. That pitch he left up, and Rodriguez jumped all over it. Infield will slide in. Outfield ought to creep in a significant amount as well.
Only digging hard. He beat the throw, and with that throw going to third, Rodriguez moved to second base. Now strategy session here. Cecil Cooper coming out. Godin the batter. Wandy went 5 in his last start. A win on Sunday in Atlanta. Gave up 3 runs. He wanted to come back out for the 6th inning, but Coop felt the game was kind of getting away from him at that point. He had balked in a run, and so he made a change.
And that may be what that meeting right there was all about, because Wandy was, with the bases loaded, was working from the full windup, and he started his windup and stopped and was called for a box. So maybe Coop out there to reinforce. Hey, let's just go from the stretch here.
And the infield in. Michael Bourne pretty shallow in center with a pitcher batting, and Eckstein's on deck. Ball 1 to Godin.
Well, you've got 1 out in the inning, and you got the pitcher up there, so you want to be aggressive here. You got to get 2 outs. You want to get Godin and Eckstein. You don't want to mess around and end up walking the pitcher and then have to get Eckstein and Giles.
Foul back.
Not a bad hack right there.
Not bad at all from a guy who's looking for his first hit. Padres hitting .216, lowest in the league with runners in scoring position is Arizona. The Padres are tied with San Francisco for the 2nd lowest. Hundley the runner at 3rd, Rodriguez at 2nd. And tap foul.
Oh, hit that ball twice. Give a little TC Chen.
Yeah. Well, that Arizona club, of course, very disappointing and non-productive offensively. Managerial switch. Also a new hitting coach. Former Astro Jack Howell is the hitting coach of the D-backs. A new pitching coach, Mel Stottlemyre Jr. It's 2-2.
Tried to drop this curveball in there, and it just stayed a little high.
Now 3 balls, 2 strikes.
I'm surprised they came with a curveball there on 2-2. You put yourself in a position where you have to throw a strike, and sometimes when you got the opposing pitcher up there and you got 3 balls, it becomes a mental thing. Should be the easiest thing in the world to do is just pump a fastball right down the middle.
He struck him out on a foul tip. 2 outs. Wandy got it up there at 92 for out number 2 of the inning. Now it's back to the top, and David Eckstein. Eckstein had the game-winning hit in the 10th yesterday for the Padres. He opened this game with a looping single to right center field. Eckstein has been doing some extra work on his hitting. Hitting coach Jim Lefevre of the Padres.
Eckstein would have been good in the dead ball era.
Yeah.
You know, back when the game was all about placing the ball, choking up, trying to spray the ball around the field. Dead ball didn't fly anywhere. He couldn't hit it very far.
Eckstein, a real battler. He'll generally make contact. 2 balls, no strikes. Eckstein, of course, played shortstop with 2 World Series champions. Anaheim in 02, St. Louis in 06. But he was signed to play second. Eckstein credited former Astro Chris Burke, who played shortstop yesterday, with setting it up for his game-winning hit. Burke drew a walk in the 10th inning, and Ted Simmons was telling us about that at bat. He said Burke was down 0-2 in the count and just really worked to get himself back into it, and then took that base on balls. It was bases loaded, and Eckstein came through. Strike, and it's 3-1. Brian Giles on deck. Eckstein, an all-star in 05 and 06 for the Redbirds. 41 pitches for Wandy Rodriguez, 26 of them strikes so far. That one strike 2. That's a full count on Eckstein. Eckstein has almost as many walks as strikeouts in his career. He's averaging 4.03 pitches per plate appearance, above the league average, and he'll see his 6th pitch here. And hit it foul.
Yeah, we talk a lot about David Eckstein being such an overachiever, a walk-on in college and one of the smaller players in the league, but obviously a very skilled baseball player. You don't make a couple all-star teams and play as long in the big leagues as he has just on guts. I mean, he's got some game.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who's been told many times that he can't do something. Roller to short. Runner jumps over it. Tejada stays with it for the out. And once again, for the 2nd straight inning, the Padres leave 2 on. No runs, 2 hits, 2 stranded. Nothing. Team batting averages in the National League this month. Washington on top at 303. Houston has a 293 average. Then it's Cincinnati, Milwaukee, and Los Angeles. And the red hot stick, Miguel Tejada, leads it off here. Batting 5th tonight. First man up in the 2nd inning. Tejada had 4 hits last night, 3 for extra bases. His ball 1 to Miggy. 308 average and 7 for 15 his last 3 games with a homer and 5 runs batted in. His first home run in a long while last night. Foul away, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. He went 173 at bats between long balls, but last night off Ted Lilly, he knocked one out, a 2-run shot in the 1st inning on a 2-0 count. Then he had 2 doubles and a single. Chopper, and the pitcher has it. Godin throws to first, 1 out. Jeff Blum will be next. Big charity luncheon tomorrow here at Union Station. Jeff Blum and his mother will be among those participating, as many of the Astros players will be joining their mothers and wives for that luncheon. 268 for Jeff, no homers and 6 runs batted in. One of the guys on the field who have played for both these ball clubs in their careers. Godin delivers, ball 1. It's at Union Station tomorrow beginning at 12. It's a brunch and bazaar. Proceeds go to Astros in Action, Methodist Cancer Center, and Susan G. Komen Foundation. Co-chairs Elizabeth McLean and Pam Gardner. 2-0.
And James Denton will be there.
That's right.
Desperate Housewives guy.
It's Pink in the Park week. What's the giveaway tonight? Bracelets?
I think so.
3-0 the count. St. Louis Cardinals are being shut out at Cincinnati. Yeah, we see a lot of pink around the ballpark this week. Special designs for this week only. 3-1. Cardinals playing the Reds for the first time this year, and the Reds have Johnny Cueto on the mound, and they lead it 4-0 through 4 over Joel Pinheiro. Blum takes a walk with 1 out. First walk of the night for Godin. Darren Erstad was inserted into the lineup when Lance Berkman had to be scratched. Erstad, 179 hitter, has no homers, 2 runs batted in. The Astros might find, well, first of all, you don't want Lance Berkman playing if his wrist is killing him. But Darren Erstad could benefit by this playing time as well. Give Lance a chance to heal a little bit. There's ball 1. Doesn't do a whole lot of good if that wrist is not workable to try to go up and hit a baseball. Erstad 1 for 7 in his career against this right-handed pitcher. Who delivers strike 1. 1-1 to Darren Erstad.
Well, Darren hasn't had many starts, so an opportunity to come into a game knowing that he's likely to get 3 or 4 ABs. Put your mind at ease as a hitter. Get that 1 AB as a pinch hitter. I think there's a tendency to jump a little bit, try to do too much.
2-1. Yeah, Jason Michaels was talking about that around the batting cage. How that was really nice to be in the starting lineup last night. He went to the plate 4 times. This is Darren's second start at first base this year. Jeff Blum, the base runner, with a 2-1 count. Now 3 balls and a strike. The Astros are 12th in the National League in runs scored, so Cecil Cooper thought he should alter the lineup a little bit tonight. Get something different going. And they have run up against a lot of very fine pitching. Strike makes it 3-2. The opponent's ERAs against the Astros this year is 3.62. Three-two count for Blum at first. He's going, and it's grounded foul. So Erstad is trusted to make contact, and he did on the foul ball. Pledge Rodriguez on deck.
Yeah, because Blum's not a base stealer, so you're counting on ball 4 or contact there from Erstad. Godin's not an overpowering strikeout pitcher. One thing you're cautious of in a situation like this is some hitters will go out of the strike zone in situations like this with that runner going. You got to make sure the guy's comfortable in the box and disciplined enough. Darren's a guy who's never really been a guy who's drawn a lot of walks in his career, but he can go out of the zone and make contact.
Another throw to first. Blum diving back this time. The Astros are a team that probably won't do a lot of hitting and running this year.
Well, who's going to tell Gonzalez, hey, has Chad read my resume? Base stealing's not a big part of it. But the Padres have not been very good at stopping the running game this year.
Runner going, and here's a chance to stop it. The throw is in the dirt, but it's dug out by Rodriguez. He makes the tag on Blum. It's a strikeout, throw-out, double play from 2-6. And they were 30 for 36 opponents against the Padres. Hundley just threw out his first in 24 tries. No score after 2. later on our Dodge Grab Life feature, Wesley Wright tells us about superstitions. Stay tuned for that from the young lefty in the Astros bullpen. A bullpen which has contributed 19 innings in the last 4 games to the Astros' cause. Brian Giles leading it off here in the 3rd. He hit a fly ball to center. There's strike 1 to Brian. 17th round draft choice by the Indians in '89. 0-2. Brian with 1 homer so far this year. He's 14 away from 300 in his career. He has more than 1,000 runs batted in. Short, compact swing with very good numbers for his career. And we've been watching him play against the Astros for many, many years. He came to Pittsburgh in '99 from Cleveland. Oh, he's had some really good seasons. 39 homers in '99. 115 runs batted in. 1-2. Then he came right back the next year with 35 homers, 123 runs batted in, scored 111. He's from El Cajon, California. Close to home right now.
Deja vu all over again.
Yes, it is.
Playing ping pong out there with curveballs. Yeah, Giles in his prime reminded you a little bit of Jeff Bagwell, kind of a Jeff Bagwell light.
Yeah.
Only from the left side with all the walks, the power, the compact swing.
Strike 3 for Wandy Rodriguez. Strikeout number 2 as Giles pauses after the call by Andy Fletcher.
Bring out your mom and celebrate Mother's Day at Minute Maid Park on Sunday in an afternoon game at 1:05. The Astros take on the Padres, and the first 10,000 women 16 and older will receive a Mother's Day tote bag courtesy of Centerpoint Energy. And stick around after the game for Mother's Run the Bases. That should be fun. For more information, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com. Guys, I want to see that one.
Yeah, we want to see you run the bases, Patty.
Yeah, I don't want to put everybody to shame. Give them a chance.
There's ball 1 to Hairston. He hit a ground ball double up the left field line in the 1st inning.
We've had grandmothers run the bases out here, right? Didn't we have a grandmother's day or something?
We did. 1 ball, 1 strike. We've had people of virtually every age run the bases in this ballpark.
People with no sense of direction run the bases day.
Don't make those right turns, folks. You could get lost.
You guys aren't lumping me in either of those categories about grandmothers or no sense of direction, right?
No. Carlos Lee in for the catch on that looping liner. 2 outs. We know that you know how to get to second base. You were a mean softball player.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you added that second part in because I didn't like the way that first one came out either. So
we've never really seen you mean, but you were good.
That's good. You're getting better.
Very proficient on the softball field.
You are getting better. Hey, guys, I want to just give a little shout out. I know you mentioned earlier about Sean Berry today and his successful surgery on his kidney. I was texting with Sean a little bit earlier. He is watching us tonight. He said he's doing okay. So, Sean, if you're still watching, we love you. We can't wait to see you back and hope you're doing well.
That's some dedication, Sean.
Way to go, buddy. That's good news.
Yeah, that is just fantastic. And chatting with Coop tonight before batting practice about the little batting practice session for Sean and the coaches in Atlanta. Coop said, I wasn't in favor of them doing that, but now I'm really glad they did. Ground ball to second. And that's out number 3. It's no score after 2.5. Aflac, by Canon, by Dodge, and by Southwest Airlines. Padres nothing, Astros nothing here inside Minute Maid Park. Good thing the air conditioning is working really well tonight. It's hot out there. Now Pudge Rodriguez to be followed by Wandy Rodriguez and Kazuo Matsui. What's that all about? Ballpark something, it says on the t-shirts. Pudge, a .247 hitter with 3 homers, has a dozen runs batted in. Strike one on the Godin breaking pitch. Godin has given up only an infield hit. Well, special t-shirts, we haven't seen those. It's a big group.
Kind of organization. Looking at the ballpark. It's a mystery.
We'll find out. Our intrepid reporter, Patty Smith, will get to the bottom of that.
Searching for mysteries without any clues.
1 ball and 1 strike to Irod with W Rod on deck. The Astros last night were 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position, and they lost 8-5 to the Cubs. Fouled away. 1 and 2. Things were going well early, but then they got the 2-run homer from Tejada in the first. 2 singles after that. Then Lilly got a double play ball, and then he started mowing down the Astros hitters. But in the 8th, they had a leadoff double from Tejada, and Marmol struck out the next 3. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
The guy the Astros don't want to see in this game is Clay Meredith.
He's 4-0, but other than that, why?
Because he's 4-0 and he's only pitched like 9 innings. He's got unbelievable karma.
That's true.
And ratio of wins to innings is incredible.
Everybody would like to have that kind of ratio. A strikeout called on appeal by Ted Barrett, the first base umpire. Strikeout number 2 for Godin.
Same pitch he threw Erstad. Left-handed hitter Erstad was up there. It was running down and in under his hands. This time it's sliding off the outside corner. That's a pitch he'll lean heavily on. That slider's probably his best pitch.
Now here's W Rod. Wandy Rodriguez, a 112 career hitter. Backing away, ball 1. Looking for his first hit this season. He's 0 for 11 with 2 sacks. Special get well wishes go out to Austin Johnson tonight of Austin, Texas. He's been in an automobile accident, recovering tonight and watching this game. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, you know, Patty mentioned Sean Berry watching the game from the hospital. Better get back in a hurry, Sean, because if Puma heats up, you know Dave Clark is going to take credit for it.
Yes, he is. Dave Clark has taken over as hitting coach.
Yeah, I fixed him.
Eckstein with the play, 2 outs. And let's find out more from Patty now.
I'm just chock full of information here. Well, Major League Baseball and People magazine are looking for individuals who have made a difference in their community. 30 everyday All-Stars will be honored at the 2009 All-Star Game in St. Louis. To nominate, just go to peopleallstars.com, guys.
We're going to nominate you for that award, Patty.
You are a wise man.
Because you are one of the finest base runners we've seen here at Minute Maid Park.
One of the finest base runners you have not seen.
Kazuo Matsui rolled out to second in the first inning. There's ball 1. I was asking Kazuo before the game around the batting cage, JD, are you more patient now, or were you more patient playing in Japan?
And
he looked at me like I'm nuts. 1 ball and 1 strike. So the next time we have that conversation, his translator Yoshi will be involved.
Oh, you went solo?
Yeah, solo. Diving try by Giles, and there's a single for Matsui. A looping hit to right center field.
Well, the last conversation I had with Kazuo, I said, "Hi, Kaz," and he nodded.
That's the way to go there. Now, he almost had his feet off the ground when he hit that ball. Giles laying out for it. Looked like he lifted that right foot up anyway. And he's on for Michael Bourne, who's had a huge impact on this game, even though he's 0 for 1.
Yeah, this would be the time to steal a base. They tried it last inning on the 3-2 count. They had Blummer moving, and Darren failed to make contact. But here it's just a good straight steal situation with 2 outs and Matsui on first base.
Way outside.
Yeah, and now's the time to do it. Now you got ball 1. Almost looked like Godin was thinking there was a pitch out on or something.
Yeah.
I think that's what Hundley's checking with.
Yep. He's smiling. Hundley, as we mentioned, had not thrown out a base runner trying to steal all season until he got Blum on the Erstad strikeout in the second inning. He was 0 for 23. 1-0 now to Michael Bourne.
Well, throwing over, doing something here.
There's the throw over. Michael lost his 6-game hitting streak last night. He had only one chance to get a hit as a pinch hitter. But he has really looked good at the plate. 361 on base average this year. Kaz started and stopped, and the pitch way outside, ball 2. Godin worked 5 2/3 innings on Sunday.
Well, now I think I would put a don't go on here and just see if maybe you can work a walk out of Godin. Force him to throw a strike first. He's obviously very concerned with the base runner. You get a pitcher focused that much on the base runner, I think you think, well, maybe he's losing his focus at home plate a little bit. So instead of taking a risk on the bases, let's see if we can work a walk here. At least force him to throw strike 1 and then run.
Yeah, that's way outside. 3-0. Thrown 3 pitches in about the same spot now. Hunter Pence on deck. The Astros as a team have hit .293 since May 1st. And now a walk. Bourne's 11th of the year. Puts him on first. Matsui on second. Second walk for Godin. And it's Hunter Pence batting.
And he worked so hard to keep the base runner at bay. You end up issuing the free pass, and he just walks on down to second base anyway. And now you face a more dangerous hitter.
Hunter Pence recalled some of these names in the Padres lineup. A lot of fans would have to look up some of these young Padre players, but Hunter said, yeah, I knew some of them because my brother played in their organization. He was a pitcher, Howard. And I met some of their guys. Hunter reached on an infield hit in the first inning. There's strike 1 to him. Carlos Lee on deck. Phillies lead the Braves 8-2 after 7 in Philadelphia. Cole Hamels gave them a good start tonight. 6 innings, 2 earned runs against JoJo Reyes. It's 1-1. So the Phillies have regrouped despite the fact they have not had good starting pitching, and they're in the lead in the NL East by a half game over both New York and Florida. Jason Worth hit his 6th home run. Chris Coast #1. Chase Utley #9. Fouled in. It's 1-2.
Jason Worth, pretty good hitter. There's so many stars in that club. He kind of gets lost a little bit. But he can swing it. And how about Ibanez? Man, has he been good for them?
Very good sign. Very good sign. 50 pitches so far for Godin with those numbers.
These are the French Impressionist era, Chad Godin. Even got the little goatee going.
Yeah. Swing and a miss, and he leaves an impression there with strikeout number 3. No runs, a hit. 2 men stranded after 3, no score.
Whataburger presented their annual Fielder's Choice program. Now, the Astros have been doing this for about 7 years or so, and it's basically a program that encourages kids to make good decisions not only on the field but off the field. And this is Mark Brown, the Director of Operations with Whataburger. And Mark, you guys have been involved now for about 4 years with this program. Tell us a little bit about your involvement.
Yeah, we have been involved for about 4 years now, and I tell you what, we are really excited to be part of this. It's a great program that really works well to make for the kids to make good choices in life, and this is something that we are proud of, and it's something we really like to be involved in.
Now, of course, earlier today, what happens basically is these kids write essays, and some of the schools are chosen. Some of the players today, Chris Sampson went out, Mark Moeller, Wesley Wright, Russ Ortiz, some of the broadcasters, JD and Brownie were out there at some of the schools. Some of the video you're seeing is down at a school in Sugar Land, and it really makes an impact on these kids. I know you were out there. Pretty neat thing to see, isn't it?
Oh, it's a great thing to see. I tell you what, just to see the kids' faces when the players get up and talk about what things they've done and the mistakes they've made and how they can make that right and do the right things. It's really a great opportunity to do that out in the community and really teach kids about making the right choices.
And I know the kids love having, the Astros out there. Obviously, the kids love Whataburger. It's a great relationship from the Astros side, and obviously from your side to have the Astros affiliated with Whataburger as well.
Oh, absolutely. I tell you what, we really enjoy partnering with the Astros. It's something we've done, like I said, for about 4 years now. And just giving back to the community is something we're very proud of, and we've done for many, many years. We really enjoy it.
All right. Well, thanks so much for doing it. We appreciate you joining us on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, guys. I know you had a good time out there. I think, Brownie, you were out in Friendswood, and JD, you went out to Town Ball?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
No?
No.
He wanted to.
I was dying to go.
Yeah, he tried. He really tried to get on that trip, Patty, but they sent somebody else instead.
They did.
Dave Raymond went to Town Ball.
Yeah.
I went to the Woodlands, actually.
That Raymond, he's always doing stuff like that.
Yeah. They sneaked in the back door and
you better watch your job.
Stole JD's assignment. But that was fun at Friendswood. We'll talk about that tomorrow night because Brian Moeller, who was with me, will be pitching tomorrow night. We had a really interesting question from one of the kids for him. Ground ball goes foul, and we don't want to give it away. So that's tomorrow night.
Oh, I'm going to tune in.
You can tune in, JD.
Curiosity is piqued.
You can tune in tomorrow night at 5:30. It won't be on that show. That's Astros Live, but it's 6 o'clock. But you'll want to watch Astros Live anyway tomorrow night. Set it up for you. Curveball makes it 2 balls, 2 strikes in this scoreless game for Kevin Kuzminoff.
Hey, guys, I got another text specifically for you from Sean Berry for you, JD. He said to tell you that he doesn't care how Lance Berkman gets hot, just as long as he gets going.
He doesn't care who gets the credit.
No. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 4. Well, Dewey Robinson is aligned with the guy who's really hot on the mound, Wandy Rodriguez, to open the season.
Well, Wandy's now pitched 23 innings in this ballpark, and he's allowed 2 runs here this year. That's a good changeup. It's got a little that circle change, got a little tailing action. It's only 7 or 8 miles an hour off his fastball, but it's enough. Good movement and really well placed.
Strike to Hundley. Hundley reached on an infield hit. Nick is not related to Todd Hundley or Randy Hundley. So that great catching family. He played in 60 games last year behind the plate, had 198 at bats. 25 years old and a second-round pick in 2005. Padres are committed to the young players.
Yeah, second lowest payroll in Major League Baseball. One of the younger teams. And they're trying to get it done with a bunch of youngsters and some proven starters at the top of the rotation. A lot of questions about Jake Peavy all winter. How long will he be a Padre? And will they be looking to move him at the trade deadline?
Yeah, those questions really dogged him. And now somebody's writing, well, maybe the Dodgers now will be interested in Peavy now that they don't have to pay Manny Ramirez for 50 days.
Well, I'm sure they would be interested in him, but I imagine the Dodgers would be the absolute last club the Padres would like to partner with in the deal with Jake Peavy.
Ground ball to shortstop, hit slowly again. Tejada this time gets Hundley, and That is a good run of 8 straight batters retired by Wandy Rodriguez in a scoreless game in the 4th. Tonight, name the 3 managers who in the last 40 years won 100 games or more as a pitcher. Well, let's see. Did Bud Black win the 100
yes.
game? Okay, I think he did.
Black.
Last 40 years, Larry Dierker.
Tommy Lasorda was a pitcher, but he didn't win very many games in the major leagues.
Roger Craig.
I'm going to guess Roger Craig did not win 100 games as a pitcher.
All right. Here's Carlos Lee, and now the home plate umpire comes over, saying something to Bud Black.
Teddy Simmons, I think, is the guy he's most concerned with.
There's Ted.
Ted down below.
Uh-oh. Not sure what that could be all about.
It's the dog days of May.
Well, we got the attention of Andy Fletcher. Now it's El Caballo, who grounded out to third. And up the right field line, it's slicing and foul. Strike 1 for Chad Godin.
That's one of the. That's a good trivia question.
It is
fired
good.
at us, Murph. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I think of pitcher managers. Buddy's the only one now. Buddy Black, the only former pitcher to be managing in the big leagues.
1 ball and 1 strike.
About a dozen catchers are now managing.
Good slider, makes it 1-2. Sharp break to it.
Starts at the bottom of the knees and just keeps moving down and away.
Line into the right field corner. He won't get to the corner. Kicks out to Giles. Lee's on his way. Here's the Giles throw, and he's got a shot at him, but he's safe and gets back after oversliding. A double for Lee, his 8th. Close play at second for Giles.
And Carlos looks like fully healed from that Achilles problem he dealt with a while back. Was running hard down the first base line. As soon as he hit it, he had a good look at it. And, a good hustling leadoff double here. We'll take a look at the play. Starts to run out a little steam as he tries to time his slide. Gets the bag off the bag, but back in it. Good play all the way around there. Heads up play by Rodriguez, staying with the tag. And Carlos coming back to the bag, and the umpire staying right on it as well.
That's Adrian Johnson on the call. He's right there in position. You see both calls. Lead off double. Now Miguel Tejada grounded back to the pitcher earlier. And this one goes to left center field. Headley backing on it. Lee will tag. Headley will make a throw to third and hold him at second. 1 out. Well done by Chase Headley to get back, turn his shoulders, let the runner know that he was on to it. He made an accurate throw to the cutoff man, Rodriguez. We have an Aflac flu now to the trivia question. Okay, this manager played in the 40s and 50s and then later managed, and he won 100 games as a pitcher in the 40s and 50s.
But he managed in the last 40 years, so it's sometime in the era of divisional play from 1969 forward.
Jeff Blum works at ball 1.
We're just looking for a manager. We're not looking for any kind of. He won X number of games as a manager, right? So he could have been a long-time manager. He could have been a 3-week manager.
Phil Boudreau is putting Bob Lemon out there.
Oh yeah, there you go.
2 balls, no strikes. We're allowed to have help. He is our lifeline tonight.
Bob Lemon with the Yankees.
Tigers 1, Indians nothing. Bottom of the 9th in Cleveland. Justin Verlander pitching a beautiful game with 10 strikeouts through 8 1/3. To center. Lee will have to go back as Hairston makes the catch. Whoa! Almost got doubled off. 2 outs. 3 managers in the last 40 years won 100 or more as a pitcher. Bud Black, Larry Durker, Bob Lemon.
Way to go, Boots.
Darren Erstad struck out in the 2nd inning. He could give the Astros a big lift right here by delivering Carlos Lee. Bud Rodriguez on deck. There's strike 1. Well, for the Astros, no Jake Peavy, no Chris Young in this series. So the 3 Padres starters against Houston in this series are all looking for their first win of the year. Godin is 0 for 1. Kevin Correa tomorrow night, 0 and 2. Bouncer, and Godin and he throws it on the bounce, but Adrian Gonzalez saves him. No runs ahead. Leadoff double does not blossom for the Astros. 0-0 after 4.
All right, guys, I've got a great story out here. I'm with 3 guys. I'm going to start with John Shinsky and let him introduce the other 2. But three guys are on a trip that has lasted about 18 days. Bike trip starting at Michigan State University. All 3 former Michigan State football players biking down to Mexico. Go ahead and introduce your team and kind of tell us a little bit about this journey.
I'd love to. This is Joe DeLamiere. He played football with me at Michigan State. All-American college football player, ended up playing for the Buffalo Bills and the Cleveland Browns, and is an NFL Hall of Famer. Our other rider is L.J. Bowen. He had an injury at MSU, so he went on and he actually became the director of the Secret Service for the United States.
Now tell us a little bit about why you're doing this and where the idea originated from.
The main purpose of doing this is that at the age of 8, my mom had to put me into an orphanage. So then I went into a foster home and got a scholarship to Michigan State and lived with Joe and LJ. And we have always been committed to doing something special for other people because of how blessed we were at Michigan State of getting an education and playing football and so on. So we've began working at building an orphanage in Matamoros, Mexico, and that's where we have right now 6 buildings up, 20,000 square feet of orphanage. In September, we're going to open the orphanage for 40 children. And then beyond that, we're going to add an additional 6 buildings and serve 140 children. And our whole intent is really, it has nothing to do with the fact of what our accomplishments have been. It's more important of who we are as human beings and what we want to do to give back to children, and children who don't even have opportunities for an education or clothing or food or those kinds of things. So it's our intent to give those children education and an opportunity to have a chance at life.
And you guys are 14 days in on an 18-day trip. How far are you going each day, and how fun has this been for you?
We're going a little over 100 miles every day, between 110 and 120 miles. It's been a great time. The weather hasn't exactly cooperated with us. We've had real bad weather along the way, and strong winds. But Joe's got the legs for strong winds and uphill, and Joe ride downhill. John and I ride downhill with the wind at our backs whenever we can.
Well, it sounds like, Joe, you had to get in better shape maybe for this than even your playing days.
No. I'm in shape, and we're all in shape, but there's nothing like this. 30-mile-an-hour winds all day. I said I'd rather play Joe Green 5 straight days than riding 30-mile-an-hour winds. This is tough.
Well, and of course, Michigan State, no coincidence. Also, Drayton McLean, no coincidence. I guess that's why you're here.
That's exactly why we're here. Mr. McLean was at Michigan State University, and Mark Hollis and Coach D'Antonio were talking with him. It's my understanding we were already on the bike ride, and he was generous enough to offer us to be able to come to the game today, which we're very, very proud of. And we're also very proud of him for having the baseball stadium. It's going to be named after Mr. McLean. So he's giving back, we're giving back, we all give back in a different way. And 4 more days from now, we're going to be in Matamoros, Mexico, accomplishing our goal of this bike ride.
Well, you guys, we are very proud of you. A great job, and it was a pleasure to meet you, and good luck on your final 4 days.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
That's tremendous effort on their part. Joe DeLamalure, of course, used to clear the way for O.J. Simpson and the Buffalo Bills. Those tremendous games he had as a running back. Pop up to second by Rodriguez, and now Godin fouls it back. And Wandy Rodriguez has now set down 9 straight as he's gotten into a really good rhythm after the 2 hits he allowed in the second inning.
Hey guys, I just want to throw out one more thing about that story. If anybody was just kind of inspired by that story like I was, you can go to www.orphanfundraiser.com and you can read all about it, get more information, and even help out if you'd like to do that.
No balls, 2 strikes as Wandy goes after win number 3 of the season. Began the night with the 5th best ERA in the National League and trying to become the first 3-game winner on the Astros staff. He's thrown 77 pitches. David Eckstein on deck. Wandy had a 1.69 ERA for his first 5 starts. Curveball gets him strikeout number 5.
Join the Astros as we celebrate our 10th season at Minute Maid Park. Check out the 10-game flex plan that's presented by Papa John's. With this plan, you get to choose the 10 games you want to see. Call 1-800-ASTROS-2 or log on to Astros.com and inquire about the 10-game flex plan.
Eckstein opened the game with a looping single to right center. He grounded out to short in the second inning. Yankees 4, Orioles nothing, top of the 9th at Baltimore. A-Rod hit a homer. Popped up. Jeff Blum underneath. Wandy Rodriguez has set down 11 in a row to keep this game scoreless through 4.5. are matched in the remaining 2 games of this series. Kevin Correa, Brian Moeller, Josh Gear, Roy Oswalt. So the only pitcher of the 6 starters in this 3-game series to have a win is Wandy Rodriguez with 2.
Yeah, that's fairly peculiar. I mean, it's still early in the year, but nonetheless, we played a month.
Wandy's on deck. Pudge leads it off in the 5th inning. He struck out in the 3rd. Chad Godin pitched in a win at Colorado, but he didn't get the decision. He went 5 innings, giving up no runs. Padres winning that one 4-3 back on the 28th of April. Pudge fouls it for strike 1. Godin, as JD mentioned, was with the Cubs. They got him in a trade last July from Oakland, along with Rich Harden in that multiplayer deal. But he was released this spring training, and then the Padres picked him up. That one hit him on the arm, so Pudge leads off by reaching base in a painful fashion. Second hit batsman of the season for Godin. And it's the first time Pudge has been hit this year by a pitch.
Down on the right forearm. Trainer Nate Lucero up on the top step of the dugout monitoring the situation.
Probably seems to Nate and Rex Jones that they've been on the top step of the dugout every inning of every game this year, the way the Astros have been suffering through injuries.
I like that. Nate's old school. Some guys run out there right away, but Pudge, an old school player, doesn't need the trainer, but after a while Nate decided to go out and check in with him.
Trainers have indeed been very, very busy for the Astros, but some players are on the mend. Humberto Quintero is beginning his rehab assignment at Round Rock tonight, and if all goes well, he can be joining the Astros on Tuesday in Colorado. Monday's an off day, and he's been coming back from that right shoulder strain. And then Brandon Backey continues his comeback. He is scheduled to make his 3rd rehab outing tonight at AA Corpus Christi and throw 90 to 95 pitches. Wandy Rodriguez, pitch out. Ball 1.
How about that?
That is different.
Sacrifice bunt situation. Bud Black thinking maybe the Astros are going to try a little something different. Maybe play a little hit and run or bunt and run. They try a pitch out. Nothing going with Pudge. Bunt still in order.
Pudge still rubbing that right forearm and elbow area. Butted in the air and foul for Adrian Gonzalez. 1-1 to count. So in a game like this, and both these clubs have really been scratching for runs this year. A sac, bunt, a little play could really be the difference.
Yeah, 1 run could be huge in this ball game. Pop up a bunt like that, you got to remember to run if you're Wandy, because they let it drop, it would be an easy double play.
CC Sabathia has pitched shutout ball for 8 innings. The Yankees leading 4-0 in the bottom of the 9th at Baltimore. Popped up on here, caught by Gonzalez. And there's out number 1.
Wandy struggling in that department this year.
Fox Sports Houston has a Twitter page. Greg Lucas is tweeting. So sign on for additional information and insight at twitter.com/FS Houston. Greg will be leaving to do a college game tomorrow, but he'll be tweeting again on Sunday. He does not tweet when he's doing college games.
It's UT and A&M tomorrow.
Okay. That's a good matchup. Caswell Matsui is 1 for 2. He's singled to right center in the 3rd. There's strike 1. In fact, Greg will be talking with Aaron Boone. They taped that interview for the Sunday Astros live show, which will be on the air at 12:30. It's nice to have him visit. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Justin Verlander in Detroit shut out Cleveland 1-0. Beating Cliff Lee. He is 1-5. Cleveland got only 2 hits in that game.
A bunch of 1-0 games this year.
Yeah.
Well, Cliff must have thrown the ball well, though.
Well, Detroit only got 7 hits.
Well, it's a good hit and run count here. 2-1, 1 out.
Just looking at Hundley's face, a lot of youthful faces on this Padre team this year. 3 balls and a strike. Cubs are leading 1-0 at Milwaukee. Ramos Ramirez left with an injury. They are now in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Cubs traded for Ryan Friel today. Picked up Friel from the Orioles and sent Joey Gathright to Baltimore.
One of those handymen with some speed. Wonder if they're worried about. Well, they wouldn't be worried about Reed Johnson, would they? Friel can play anywhere. Reed Johnson covers center field pretty well, so he would seem to be set against lefties. Matsui draws a walk. 1st and 2nd now, and 1 out for Michael Bourne. The Home Depot doing more on defense. Shows you Michael Bourne running this one down. Up on Towles Hill. He falls, lands very hard, robbing Headley in the 1st inning for the 3rd out with runners at 2nd and 3rd. So that saved at least 2 runs and maybe more.
Yeah, he's been hitting that turf a lot in recent games.
Little roller up the line. Adrian Gonzalez. Quick toss. Out at first. As the runners move along to 2nd and 3rd. Punch to 3rd base. And Matsui to 2nd. 3-1 play. Close play.
A very close play. Adrian Gonzalez quickly unloads and a good flip out in front of Chad Godin, so he doesn't have to break stride. And let's see who wins the foot race. Yeah, it looks like Godin just by a whisker.
Chad Barrett with a call. Now it's Hunter Pence batting in this number 3 spot tonight. He reached on an infield hit. And then in the 3rd, he struck out with 2 men on for the final out there. Got off the end of the bat, and there's strike 1. But he was a little quick on the breaking pitch that time. Carlos Lee's on deck. Pirates and Mets are tied 2-2 in the middle of the 8th inning. John Neese starting for New York against Jeff Karstens. 0-2 now. Neese replacing Oliver Perez in the Mets rotation. He's on the disabled list now.
So now if you're Chad Godin, you're thinking, okay, I've got a couple swings and misses at my slider out of the zone. Do I go back with that, or do I assume he's looking out there and try to throw that fastball up and in? Looks like they're going back down and away with the slider.
He lets it go. 1-2. Boston leads Tampa Bay 5-3. They've played 7 at Fenway. Jason Bay hit his 9th homer, and J.D. Drew chimed in with number 4 for the Red Sox. 2-2 as Hunter works his way back in the count, taking the breaking pitches.
We've seen 4 in a row now. Let's see if Hundley and Godin go off the slider here for a pitch. 76 pitches made by Chad Godin, almost as many balls as strikes. Bottom line, it's still nobody's crossed home plate.
Now it's a full count as he missed with a fastball. 94. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Everything has been away.
And a grounder into right field. Scores Rodriguez, and Matsui comes in. 2-run single. Hunter Pence on the 3-2 pitch. He punched it between first and second. The Astros lead 2-0. What a nice at bat for Hunter Pence.
A look of relief on his face. Down to the count, 2 strikes after going after a couple of wide sliders. He hangs in there, lays off a couple of pitches, 3 pitches, 2 sliders and a fastball, and Godin stayed away throughout the at-bat, came back with the slider, this one on the plate but down, and Hunter just flips it into right field. How do you like that hitting, Coach? The boy came through for you.
13 runs batted in now for Hunter Pence. Carlos Lee, the batter, he doubled inside the right field line. He's 1 for 2. Fly ball. Giles hoofing it over toward the line. That's in for a hit. He barehands it. Stops playing at third. Looping single for Carlos. First and third now for Tejada. And Carlos is 2 for 3. Giles had a long way to go.
And if he leaves his feet and comes up empty, Hunter Pence is going to score, so he opts to play it on a hop. Almost bounced by him.
Darren Balsley, the pitching coach, out. 2-0 Astros, and it'll be Tejada 0 for 2. Godin at 79 pitches for the night. Chad, a 34th round draft pick of Tampa Bay in 01. He was in the rotation for the A's in 07 all year, going 11 and 13 that year, piling up 199 innings. Tejada with 10 runs batted in, has runners at first and third. Hairston over in right center for him. Strike in the corner for Godin. That's the way the Padres play him. Padres had an error yesterday, but they had gone 56 2/3 consecutive innings without making an error. Foul away, and it's 0-2. Tejada has had at least 3 hits in 6 different games this year. Leads the majors. Well, he'd settle for a 1-hit night if it came right here, probably.
He's like an alcoholic. You can't have just one.
Fly ball left center. Headley back and calling to end it. The Astros settle for 2 runs in the 5th. On 2 hits, they leave 2, and they lead it 2-0. Grab Life feature. Let's hear from Wesley Wright on superstitions.
Not really superstitious. I try to keep a routine, but if something gets thrown off, it doesn't really bother me that much. I'm not really that superstitious.
And now as he watches from the bullpen, he's watching Wandy Rodriguez, who has sat down 11 straight and leads 2-0. Ryan Giles leading off and looking at ball one. Giles is 0 for 2. Cubs lead the Brewers at Milwaukee 2-0, bottom of the 6th inning. Randy Wells started that one, going 5 innings against Dave Bush. Towering pop. Matsui calling. 2 pitches, 1 out for Wandy here in the 6th.
Wandy in complete control of this ball game. He threatened in the 1st and the 2nd. Since then, nada.
81 pitches so far for Wandy.
Padre lineup does not have a lot of firepower, but he's just up to his old trick, snapping that hook off, commanding the fastball, moving it in and out.
Now it's Hairston batting. Hairston hit the ground ball double in the 1st. Fly ball to left field, 2nd time up. Strike 1 on the fastball at 91. Wandy's ERA at home 0.95 for the first 3 starts of the year. Coming into this game, he beat Cincinnati here 7-0 with 7 innings of 2-hit shutout ball back on the 18th of April. No balls, 2 strikes. Milton Bradley hit his 3rd home run tonight for the Cubs. J.J. Hardy has come back with number 5 for the Brewers. 2-1 Cubs, bottom of the 6th at Milwaukee. It's 1-2, and Pudge wants a little chat with Wandy.
I don't know if he was crossed up there, but Pudge was heading to the mound before he even caught the ball.
Yes, he was.
A little mix up with a signal. Watch Pudge is kind of coming out of that crouch, heading to the mound as he's receiving the ball.
This could be Wandy's biggest year. He's off to his best start, certainly, with the 2.19 ERA. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Hairston. Foul tip, strikeout. Strikeout number 6. Our league leaders are brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Tonight, let's check out the Major League Baseball home run leaders. Carlos Pena of the Rays has 13. Albert Pujols second with 11. Evan Longoria has 10. Then it's the Padres' Adrian Gonzalez with 9. And Alfonso Soriano of the Cubs hit 2 last night. And he now has 9. As Astros fans can well tell you after that game last night. Gonzalez 0 for 2. Taking strike 1. He is really an important guy to this team, which doesn't have a lot of power. He has hit 9 of the 27 San Diego long balls this year. Line drive to right. Hunter Pence in. And that's 14 straight outs for Wandy Rodriguez. 2-0 Astros. The Padres 5-4. Jeff Blum leads it off. Home 6th inning. He is 0 for 1 with a walk. And there's ball 1 for Chad Godin.
Hey, that guy has got Astros tattooed into the back of his head. The guy sitting right down in front of us with a Craig Biggio jersey on. He's got my hairstyle.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Astros across the back of his head.
Okay.
That's a fan.
Maybe we should get him up here and have him explain that.
See if Cliffy can get a shot. I don't. That's the
That guy?
Yeah, that's a guy. Right there. See, it's barely make it out. Well, there it is. He's got Astros in there.
He does?
Huh.
All right.
For the tattoo or marker or what?
2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, he's a super fan. He was here long before the game tonight. It's 3-2. Darren Erstad on deck. The Astros leading it 2-0. They got 2 in the 5th on a single by Hunter Pence. Maybe you should see what it takes to get one of those tattoos, JD. Swing and a miss and a strikeout. It's the Coors Light 6th inning. Time now for the Coors Light freeze cam, showing you that close play at first on Michael Bourne in the 5th. And Godin had to hustle over and take the toss, and just barely in time as he got it from Gonzalez. And the ball by Ted Barrett is reaffirmed on our Coors Light freeze cam, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. It's tough being an umpire, and they love it when their calls are verified. Replays like that. Darren Erstad looks at ball 1. Darren is struck out and grounded out to the pitcher. Texas Rangers 15-13, and they are leading tonight at Chicago over the White Sox 6-0, bottom of the 6th inning. Matt Harrison, the lefty, is pitching against Jose Contreras. Chop, one bounce, back to Godin. 2 outs. He's keeping his club close.
Well, no surprise, we're in this 2-0 ball game in the 6th. The Astros 12th in the league in runs scored. The Padres 13th. Wandy's been very sharp tonight. Godin has pitched well. The Rally Hawks have got a 2-0 lead. And Hunter Pence has driven in both runs for the Astros.
Well, you know he's going to be featuring that again tomorrow then. Butch Rodriguez, little roller. Hundley plays it for the 3rd out. And after 6, it's 2-0 Astros. Houston is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers, by AT&T, by Nissan, by Reliant Energy, and by Southwest Airlines. Busy downtown area tonight with this game and the NBA playoff game just a few blocks away, so a lot of fans have come here to the east side of downtown Houston. Let's go Astros. They've enjoyed the work of Wandy Rodriguez here tonight. He has set down 14 in a row. Gave up 2 hits in the first, stranding runners at second and third. 2 more in the second, stranding runners again at second and third. And now it's Headley leading it off in the 7th inning. Headley is 0 for 2. Michael Bourne made that tremendous catch on him in the first with 2 men on. Ball 1, and he struck out in the 4th inning. Headley looks at it, and that's a strike to make it 1-1. Coming into this game tonight, Wandy ranked in the top 5 in the league in several categories: ERA, home ERA, night ERA. Good curveball. 1-2. Edward Mujica is warming up the bullpen for the Padres. Curveball gets him. Strikeout number 7. Time to announce our progressive fan of the game. Let's go down to Patty Smith to find out who it is. Patty?
Well, you guys sent me on a mission a couple innings ago. All these beautiful girls out here down the first base line in matching T-shirts, and I found them. This is the president, Maggie Robinson from Texas A&M. Tell us about your group and why you guys are here.
We're just a bunch of sorority girls, and this is our sisterhood event. We came to the game just to kind of get away from finals for right now and just have some fun as sisters.
And you guys really, it turned out to be a really cool thing because this is a philanthropy trip for you and in conjunction with Pink in the Park, right?
Yes, we're actually Zetas at A&M, and so our philanthropy is breast cancer education and awareness. And so basically we thought this would be a perfect game to come.
All right, well, I love the T-shirts. I know this is the first annual trip of many. These are our progressive fans of the game. Girls, let's go ahead and give it to us. Guys.
Thank you, Patty. You're right in your element there. To those sorority girls, those Zetas from Texas A&M. 2-1. Kuzmanov fouls it back.
Yeah, well, isn't tonight college night at the ballpark?
Yes, it is. A great way. See, they had the concept that a lot of people think about. You got to get away during the finals week.
Yeah, that's studying. That's overrated. Go to the ballpark.
Can't cram at the last minute. If you don't know it, you're not going to be able to cram it in there, JD. A lot of us tried, though.
No all-nighters?
A lot of us tried. 2 balls and 2 strikes. There's that panic that sets in the night before a final.
Yeah. I tried to learn about 1,500 years of European history one night. That didn't work out so good.
For ball 3, 3-2 for Wandy. He's closing in on 100 pitches now. He has gone 7 innings twice. Roy Oswalt has gone 7 innings twice. Those are the 4 starts for the Astros of 7 innings this year.
If I'm Cecil Cooper, I do not let the pitch count influence my decision about Wandy Rodriguez one bit tonight. As long as he's still throwing good and looks like he's in command, he's my pitcher. If he starts to, they start to center the ball off of him and it looks like he's laboring a little bit, then, you get somebody up and get ready to make that move to the pen. But this is his ball game.
To left center field, Michael Bourne slanting over, gets there easily. 2 outs. That's 16 in a row. This day in Astros history is sponsored by MD Anderson, making cancer history. On this date in 2004, Astros second baseman Craig Biggio collects hit number 2,500 in the first inning of a game against the Braves. He adds to this milestone night in his next 2 at-bats with solo home runs off Atlanta starter Horacio Ramirez. May 8, 2004. 2004 was also the last time the Astros had 2 triples in 1 inning until last night. Now Hundley was strike one. 28,139 in attendance. Bought tickets on college night. Hundley reaching on an infield hit in the second and grounded out to short in the fourth. Twice he's hit it to Miguel Tejada. Luis Rodriguez is on deck. Fouled, and it's 0-2. The Marlins and the Rockies are in the top of the third. Marlins 3, Rockies 1. Ricky Nolasco for Florida. Jason Hamill for Colorado. Astros will go to Colorado next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Curveball up the middle and into center field. Wandy leaving his feet as that interrupts the string of 16 straight outs.
Yeah, he'll go to the stretch for the first time in a while. Sometimes that can be a little unsettling. Get out of your rhythm a little bit. I don't suppose it'll be an issue here tonight. Good swing of the bat there by Hundley. He's got a lot of swings and misses at that curveball. We got Rodriguez pitching, Rodriguez hitting, Rodriguez catching.
Very confusing here in the seventh inning. Luis Rodriguez doubled in the second. Popped up. Next time up, there's strike one. Pitcher spot is due up next. The Padres are preparing to pinch hit with Edgar Gonzalez, and he's the brother of Adrian Gonzalez, the first baseman. So we've got all kinds of name confusion going here tonight. Rolled out to second. Matsui on to first. 7 innings of wonderful baseball for Wandy Rodriguez. He's allowed 5 hits and he leads it 2-0. Their 10 years in Minute Maid Park this season. Help us pick the top moment in the park's history with our bracket challenge. And there's your choice this week: the Biggio 3000th hit or the 05 wild card clincher. Go to Astros.com to cast your vote today. There's strike one to Wandy Rodriguez. So both pitchers stay in here as the bottom of the seventh moves on, and Chad Godin is due up first in the 8th inning. He throws that one and gets a swing and a miss for strike two. Wandy is 0 for 2. The ground out and a bunt that was popped up. Matsui and Bourne to follow. The Astros and Padres each with 5 hits tonight. Line to short and caught by Rodriguez.
Create your own Astros collectible using your favorite photos at the photo store on Astros.com. In 3 easy steps, you can make your very own Astros memory. Do it at Astros.com. Where? At Astros.com.
Kazuo Matsui singled in the third. He walked in the fifth and rode home on the Hunter Pence 2-run single.
And maybe the most important statistic for a starting pitcher is at-bats.
Yeah.
You get 3 at-bats in a game, or better yet, even 4, then you know you've had a pretty good night.
Third baseman Kuzminov is in tight. Now it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Padres opened the season 9-3. They're 4-13 since then. To left field, Headley coming in. 2 outs. And Godin has done a nice job of keeping it close. Michael Bourne 0 for 2 with a walk. Godin with 28 major league wins. Bourne has grounded out twice and he's walked. Hunter Pence is on deck. Michael fights off the fastball. There's strike 1. Michael with 17 runs scored leads the Astros. Inside, and it's even at 1 ball, 1 strike. The Astros are trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. They're 11-17. 1-2 for Godin. Arizona Diamondbacks under new skipper tonight. A.J. Hinch lead Washington 1-0 after 1. Arizona's 12-17. Clay Meredith is warming up in the Padre bullpen. Foul ball.
It seems like baseball has taken a little bit of a turn in recent years. There's a lot of first-time managers. You know, Buddy Black was hired back in '97. I think there were 4 managers hired that year. Brand new guys. Manny Acta. Did I say '97? I mean 97, 2007.
Okay. Struck him out to end the 7th inning and keep the score 2-0 Astros. Five hits, 3 of them singles, 2 doubles. Hunter Pence had the 2-run single in the 5th for the Astros to make it a 2-0 lead, and that's where it has stayed. The Padres have only 1 hit since the 2nd, a 2-out single by Hundley in the 7th. Now Wandy has thrown 104 pitches. He goes to work here on Edgar Gonzalez, the pinch hitter, or the pitcher Godin. And there's strike one.
Starts him with that little fadeaway changeup, diving off the outside corner. He's made a number of good pitches with that change tonight. And now here comes Uncle Charlie knocking on the door.
Yeah. And it's 0-2 to Edgar. He's the older brother of Adrian Gonzalez, native of San Diego. And he's had a longer journey to the big leagues, 9 years in the minors for Edgar. And last year he had 325 at-bats with his brother in San Diego and a little more time at AAA Portland. Primarily a second baseman. It's 1-2 to Edgar Gonzalez. Bounced around. He began in the Tampa Bay organization, then moved to Texas, Montreal, Florida, St. Louis. San Diego signing him as a free agent in 2007. And this fly ball goes to right field. Hunter Pence backing on it. 1 out. Edgar Gonzalez is retired as a pinch hitter for Chad Godin, who had a nice night of it. 7 innings for Godin. 5 hits and 2 runs allowed. He had 3 walks that he struck out. Let's see, 5?
Yeah, 5.
Okay.
And hit a batter. And really that 5th inning, it was he hit Pudge and then walked Matsui. And it really was his undoing. And then Hunter Pence just hit that little seeing eye base hit through the right side. And that's the story of the ball game.
A very succinct story compared to some recent games we've seen. Good night for Godin. Back at the top of the lineup, and Eckstein. There's strike one. Eckstein led off the game with a single. He was at third with 1 out in the first inning. Padres were knocking on the door. 1-1. They had their cleanup hitter up. Second and third, 1 out, and he had a check swing roller to third. And Eckstein held at third base. And then Headley unloaded that bomb to center field, and Bourne made a tremendous catch on it. So that was the end of the first inning, and then Wandy had second and third, 1 out in the second inning, struck out the pitcher Godin and got Eckstein on a grounder.
Illustrating what a game of inches this is. Turn the clock back a couple of nights to Mike Hampton's start when Reed Johnson hit that ball to center field with the bases loaded, and Michael made that great effort leaping for it and just came up a little bit short. You know, if he catches that, maybe Hampy gives you 7 shutout that night. Who knows?
Quite possible. Flared to right field. Hunter Pence over toward the line, and he's there. 2 outs. Our power play is brought to you by Reliant Energy. And let's take a look at some of the action from this game tonight on our Reliant Energy power play with Wandy Rodriguez.
Yeah, he has been on top of his game again here tonight. All 3 pitches working effectively. Pudge doing a real nice job. Game calling, spotting the fastball down and away. Good change, good hook. That's all. Watch a guy like Wandy and another thing. That's pretty easy. I get it. Spot the fastball, mix in the breaking ball, a few change-ups. My golly, it's easy.
Ryan Giles looks at ball 1. He's 0 for 3. Wandy started the Astros' only shutout win of the year. Fly ball, Michael Bourne in center. 2-0 Houston in the middle of the 8th. 2-out, 2-strike, 2-run single to right by Hunter Pence. He had been behind in the count, worked his way to a 3-2 pitch. He went to right field. Runs batted in. Number 12 and 13 of the year to make it 2-0 Astros. That's where it has stayed. Pence batting third for the first time this year. Chad Gaudin with a good 7 innings, and now the reliever, who is 4-0, Clay Meredith, comes in for the 8th.
I'm just going to venture a guess that he has the best wins per innings pitched ratio in Major League Baseball right now, with 4 Ws in 10 innings, something like that.
Something like that. This Astros call to the bullpen is brought to you by Verizon Wireless. Let's see, 11 games, 9 2/3 innings. You're right.
Yeah. How about that?
Olis Clay Meredith facing Hunter Pence, who is 2 for 3.
Yeah, Clay, CLA, short for Claiborne, which is his middle name. Olis Claiborne Meredith III. Out of Virginia Commonwealth University.
Ooh, sounds like he ought to be in investment banking or something.
Yeah, it's Olis Clay.
Olis Clay Meredith III calling.
Meet me down at the Yacht Club.
Your CDs are expiring this week. 1 ball and 1 strike on Hunter Pence. Fouled away, and it's 1-2 with Carlos Lee and Miguel Tejada to follow in the Astros 8th. The Padres have their 3, 4, 5 hitters due up in the 9th. Hairston, Gonzalez, and Headley. This crowd will be treated to fireworks after the game tonight with a special female theme. Punched in the air to shallow right. Eckstein out, and he has it. 1 out. Clay Meredith tied for 2nd in the league with those 4 wins. He's first among relievers. Here's a look at tonight's Astros box score, brought to you by Firestone, showing you a Matsui hit, 2 hits for Pence, 2 hits for Carlos Lee. And that's it.
Yeah, and you think about some of those hits. Hunter had that infield hit, little tapper out to the mound.
Backhand play here. Kuzmanov gets out number 2.
Carlos had a little bloop single. Hunter's RBI, 2 RBI hit was just kind of a little ground ball through the hole on the right side. So they didn't really hit a lot of balls hard here tonight. But the way Wandy's pitched, it's been enough.
Now the Astros have bullpen action going. Miguel Tejada is 0 for 3. A bullpen that will no doubt thank Wandy profusely. We're going 8. There is LaTroy Hawkins. At least he's gone 8 so far, but he might be back out there in the 9th. Here's strike 1.
He would be for me unless he indicated that he was starting to tire a little bit. If he tells me he feels good and he's ready to go, then he's going back out there. But I don't think he is. I think he'd be sitting down if he was still in the game.
Okay.
Maybe not.
1 ball, 1 strike. He would be conserving his energy for the 9th inning.
He's stretching his arm. I think he's going back out there.
Looks like it. He's still got his battle face on. 1-2 the count.
Now, Wandy, take a breather.
He's going back out there, JD.
Yeah.
Cole Hamels and the Phillies beat the Atlanta Braves 10-6. First win since the World Series for Cole Hamels. Meredith has a 1-2-3-8 then. 2-0 Astros going to the 9th. Houston is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, by Progressive Insurance, by Bud Light Line, and by your Texas Ford dealers. Time for a look now at our Land Rover extraordinary play, and a play in the first inning sometimes holds up. We'll see if it does, but this could be the game saver in the first inning. Deep drive to center by Chase Headley, and it's chased by Michael Bourne. It falls on Towles Hill, comes down hard, holding on. Runners stranded at second and third, and 2 runs would have scored, and then maybe more in that first inning. So that's the way this game started, and it ended with shutout ball for Wandy Rodriguez. 8 innings, 5 hits, no runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts for Wandy Rodriguez, 114 pitches. Michael Bourne now in center field, and LaTroy Hawkins on the mound for the 9th, with Jason Michaels in left field for Carlos Lee.
Pitching, defense, and one very timely base hit, the story of this game so far. And now can LaTroy Hawkins come in and slam the door here in the 9th?
Scott Hairston leading it off. There's strike 1 to him. He is 1 for 3 in this game. Hawkins 3 for 4 in saves. Last road trip, 3 appearances, 2 2/3 innings, no runs. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Michaels is in the 9th spot in the lineup. Hawkins in the cleanup position with Carlos Lee leaving the game. Hairston had that ground ball double in the first inning. Foul back, and it's 1-2 to Hairston.
Well, here's hoping that it becomes irrelevant where Hawkins and Michaels are batting in the lineup. Hopefully that is not an issue. 116 pitches for Wandy tonight. Not an easy decision for a manager in this stage of the ball game. You feel like your starter might be tiring a little bit, but you never know what you're going to get when you go to the bullpen. Even the best of closers, come in and sometimes don't have their good stuff or don't locate well. There's always a risk when you remove a guy who's really going well and go to the pen. And of course, there's risk to every decision you make. If you leave the starter in, there's a risk of that too. You would have had the middle of their order looking at Wandy for the 4th time.
Strike 3 for LaTroy Hawkins. Strikeout number 8 for Astros pitchers. The Astros are celebrating their 10 years in Minute Maid Park this season. Help us pick the best moment in our 10-year bracket challenge. Go to Astros.com to cast your vote today to pick the top moment in Minute Maid Park history. This week you can vote for Biggio's 3,000th hit or the 05 wild card clincher. And appropriate that Chris Burke would be back in town. He's with the Padres now. Big part of that 05 season. Adrian Gonzalez is 0 for 3. And there's strike 1. Brandon Backey pitching tonight in his 3rd rehab assignment in the minor leagues at AA Corpus Christi. In 6 innings, allowed 2 hits, no runs, 7 strikeouts, 84 pitches. Headley's on deck. Little tap. Erstad to Hawkins. 2 outs. And the Astros, who have 1 shutout victory this season, and out away from number 2. Fans have really gotten caught up in this Wandy Rodriguez game with a phenomenal play from Michael Bourne in the first inning. And now they're ready for LaTroy Hawkins to turn out the lights and get the fireworks going. Headley is 0 for 3. And now the switch hitter turns around to bad left this time up. Headley's hitting .281 as a left-handed batter, .214 right-handed. Bunting, and LaTroy will go for it. Yeah, he stopped running full speed, and all you're thinking about at this point, if you've been watching a lot of Astros games, is, oh no.
Yeah, don't blow out a hammy.
Yeah. Strike one to Headley. Johnny Cueto and Cincinnati beat St. Louis 6-4.
Well, he sees Blummer back there at third base, so he's going to try to push a bunt down the third baseline. That would bring the tying run to the plate.
It's 1-1. CC Sabathia and the Yankees shut out Baltimore on 4 hits, 4-0, with a home run from Alex Rodriguez. Kevin Kuzminoff is on deck. Fans hoping the Astros are in the process of snapping a 3-game losing streak tonight. 2-1. The Astros are 5-10 at home. The Padres are 5-10 on the road. Johnny Cueto going to 3-1 with that Cincinnati win over St. Louis, and Joel Pinheiro, Francisco Cordero getting save number 9, and Tyler Green hit his first homer on a losing cause for the Redbirds. Ground ball, Matsui. Shutout win. Astros. A combined 5-hitter for Wandy Rodriguez, who goes to 3-2, and LaTroy Hawkins. And the Astros get the 2-run single in the 5th from Hunter Pence. Fabulous play in the 1st from Michael Bourne, and turn it into the 2-0 win over San Diego.